Hey everyone, and welcome back to Psyched About Life, where we talk about psychology, life, growth, and personal development. Today's video is all about how to speak more confidently and are you a sensitive striver? Now, you probably have never heard of that term before, and if you have, props to you. I've never heard of it before this video, but we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of how to speak more confidently, why it's important to speak more confidently, and what is a sensitive striver. Now, it may not be in that exact order, but we're going to get to all of those good things in just a moment. So I was originally planning on doing just like an effective communication, which I've done already in my earlier videos, but this one a little bit more thoroughly. But I wanted to get more into the psychology behind it. And there's actually a label called sensitive striver. And I really, once I read into it on Psychology Today, I was really shocked by how it kind of labeled the trait in general. And I feel like it's kind of cool to have a label. Now, labels might not be very effective for everyone, but me personally, I like knowing kind of like where I fit into some sort of group or category so I can best get the tools and resources that I need that kind of fit that kind of trait. So that's where it kind of stems from. I myself get very much anxious. I overthink before public speaking, whether it's in a large group or a small group or even in front of a colleague. And it's really important, I believe, as well, for us to be very thorough, appear confident, and get our message across the way that we want to. Not in bits and fragments, but the whole picture and to deliver it the best way. And so we're going to get into what a sensitive striver is first, and then how to cope and get into that more confident speaking. So Psychology Today coined the term sensitive striver. Really, it's just somebody who gets very overstimulated, overwhelmed in public speaking, and also gets very stressed in a typical stressed workplace, of course. This is 15 to 20% of the population who think and feel very deeply. And I'm not saying that all people that get anxiety before presenting or communicating are sensitive strivers, but this is kind of a cool way of looking at public speaking, and maybe you fit into this category, so we're going to get into what this means in just a second. But really, sensitive strivers shut down before speaking because they are kind of overwhelmed in their workplace, or they just have so many thoughts and feelings and they can't really put it together and communicate effectively. So that's kind of where I'm getting at. Now, ways that you can see if you do fall into this sensitive striver category is, and I'm going to list them right now: experience emotions with depth and complexity, strong desire to exceed expectations. Maybe you put a lot of pressure on yourself and your performance. Your inner critic is always talking. You always care about how you are perceived. You put others' needs before your own. Strong emotional reactions, feel anxious and when you're caught off guard or being evaluated and you are stuck in indecision or indecisive. You take feedback and criticism to heart, and you just pretty much take it all with an excessive amount of emotion. And meetings are tough for sensitive strivers because they feel so much, they worry so much, and they tend to be a little bit more on the rather be an observer versus a speaker side. They genuinely enjoy listening to others' ideas. They worry about what other people think, and they become more overwhelmed and may freeze under pressure. And now, here are some of the things that you can do to help you, if you are or not a sensitive striver. Here are some things that can help you with your confidence in speaking in general. I don't like to say sorry if I'm screaming. I don't like to say it's just good for public speaking and if you're in an important event or meeting, but it's really good to speak confidently. So I think that this really applies to all situations, not just in a conference. So you really want to banish those jitters that you experience before you have to say something. And typically it's something that's of importance, right? Because you're putting so much emphasis on it. So you kind of want to bring yourself down to that homeostasis level. You want to try to relax yourself. A lot of breathing exercises, a lot of music, meditation, going for a walk, being one with nature, stuff like that really helps you go back to that baseline level. Also, ease into it. So don't start off headstrong with like a big thing. Kind of figure it out prior. You always want to be prepared with whatever you're going to say to someone, whether it's a big crowd or a small crowd. And you just kind of ease into it. give yourself an opportunity to get comfortable, maybe do some practice prior. Don't feel rushed, okay? Just try to get a feel for the crowd, how they are. Maybe just start off with something simple and then get into the actual problem. Now, the next one really applies to me. I know that's not important, but it's really good that it applies to me because I have a lot of passion about it. So, committing to speaking earlier. Whether that's volunteering to speak first for a presentation or just trying to get your point across sooner, because as you wait, your anxiety may build, and whether that's a physical response or a mental response, it's just best to have, like I said, that baseline of stimuli and thoughts and just keep it at kind of like a homeostasis, calm level. So trying to get yourself out, set a simple strategy to say something in the first 10 to 15 minutes of the session, whether it's to welcome people or present your main argument, ask a question. When you're talking first, you kind of are relieving some of that anxiety. So it doesn't even have to be the actual message itself, but like throwing in a question at first or making a comment. The sooner you get comfortable with speaking and speak, makes the whole thing easier. Also, use your strengths when speaking up. So if you're soft-spoken, you can still make a great impact by backing up a coworker. So whatever your skills are, if it's being very supportive, if it's being very funny, maybe you can throw in something, and whatever gets you more comfortable in speaking can kind of ease that anxiety. And I think easing that anxiety is kind of the whole focus, what this website's talking about. It's like getting us back into that calm state, being the person to do the action, because of course you can say good ideas, but what people are going to pay attention to is like who's actually going to do it and who's going to actually make that next step. So when you can be a reliable source and take the initiative, you can really invest in that person, that company, that organization, and it really makes the meeting go better because you're that person that is reliable and taking the next step. And one more thing I'm going to mention is it's really good to challenge your own beliefs, and I know that anxiety does bring in a lot of cognitive distortions, one may say, which is like a false interpretation of reality. Because of all of that anxiety and worry, it kind of morphs what's actually happened in the reality of the matter. So challenging your own beliefs, like for example, someone that says, oh, I'm always looked at the wrong way, so I'm just going to be quiet. You know, maybe like look at it a different way and be like, that is just my own insecurity. Maybe they're not thinking that way. Maybe it was just an off day. I have a right also to communicate, so let me still do what I need to do because it's important. So just challenging your beliefs prior or after, it's really good to kind of see from different perspectives and challenge ourselves because that ultimately helps us grow. The reason why I made this video was because I found that concept interesting, but also because it's so important for us to appear confident and feel confident because it makes all the difference. And I see myself at work as a psychologist afraid to speak up, sometimes afraid to confront people or start a conversation because I'm so worried about how they're gonna feel. But when I start and snap my fingers and just wake myself up from whatever challenging thought I was having, and I just go in and I ease into it, or I read the room prior, or I make a comment, or I support my colleague, I'm able to then kind of bring myself down to that clear state of mind and just deliver whatever I have to say. Even if it's like easing into it or going full swing and saying, hey, I have an idea. I'm just trying to practice being more comfortable, and that's really what it's all about. So that's why I feel like it's important to try these strategies and really try to grow as a person in having that confident communication and speaking up, because it's very important to have a clear way of communicating and also feeling confident about yourself and what you're going to say. It's very, very important in many different environments and situations. And so that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate your time. And stay tuned for more videos. Bye.